All right, what is up, everybody? Shadow Scout 0013 here reporting in for another list build. And today I'm going to go over a rebel list. And the objective is just kind of vague and left up to you, but it feels like it's going to be a fun list if tried. And it's kind of hard to explain. There's going to be a lot of stuff. It's mostly going to be a rogue one style, but yeah, we'll say rogue one style. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go with Cassian. And then especially for Andor, with Andor coming out, I know everyone's excited for that. We'll go ahead and go with him and K2. And hopefully maybe in Andor, we'll see them meet. That would be pretty fun. And how, that story got involved. But first, what we'll do is I always usually go with Hunter on Cassian, just to give him that aim when he needs if necessary. That way he doesn't have to recover, but if you wanted to recover, you could. Offensive push would be a much cheaper option, and because he does have a command card, I think that allows him to recover, if I'm not mistaken, yep, this one is 3-pip. So when Cassian Indoor issues an order to a commander, operative, or special unit, or special forces unit, that unit recovers and gains danger sense 1. So he's going to be able to get a chance to recover. It just depends on when you're going to use it. So if you wanted the cheaper option, you can go with offensive push. If you wanted Hunter, go with Hunter. We'll go with offensive push for this time. And then I always usually go with situational awareness, also because when K2 is doing anything, he has to calculate the odds. So he can choose a friendly trooper unit at range 1 and in line of sight, which if you can infiltrate Cassian, he's going to be a detachment for Cassian, and he's going to be right there next to him. So maybe you could go with Cassian after you go with K2 first. So you can calculate the odds, giving Cassian some more stuff. And then incognito, so he can't be attacked by enemy units beyond range 1 unless you have performed an attack or used an objective card action during this game. So you really kind of, if you don't want him to be shot at beyond range 1, then you really need to not do much with him. So there's a few ways that you can actually use him. You can kind of use him to sneak into enemy lines at some point, or it's just up to you. He's a really good character, in my opinion. But then for Cassian, we're also going to go with his config. It's only 10 points, and you can pretty much, I think, recover and just kind of change which one it is. And then after that, we're going to need some core. So we'll go with some core. We're going to go with Rebel Veterans. We're going to go with the Mark II medium. I'm going to go with a Rebel Trooper unit, and then I'm going to just go with some fleets because I'm planning on doing the AA5 speeder truck, and I'll explain why, but we'll go ahead and add that. And then for the special forces, obviously we're going to go with Pathfinders. Now, I don't know if anyone remembers Pathfinders or maybe what they're from, but besides Rogue One, if anyone remembers in history, the Pathfinders were the ones that infiltrated behind enemy lines, I think before D-Day, to signify, some stuff. I forgot exactly what it was, but if you want to look up American Pathfinders, they were the ones that pretty much were very similar to this. So it's kind of a cool story. I mean, it's fun to check out if you haven't already. So on both of them, I'm going to go ahead and add the heavy. Pow, obviously, in Bistan. He's going to be great for ion stuff because he's going to give out an ion whenever he shoots at range 1 to 4. And then whenever you are giving an order, the 3-pip out, Cassian's 3-pip, he's going to be able to give it to Cassian so he can recover. He's going to be able to give it to 2 other units. And if he gives it out to special forces, they'll be able to recover as well. So you'll be able to recover Bistan and then be able to take off as much suppression as you want to. And then, yeah, I think that's it so far. So let me go ahead and add everything. This isn't the end result, but I just wanted to kind of show everyone or show you guys exactly what I'm planning on doing. And I was planning on doing something else to kind of make sure that the AA5 stays alive a little bit longer. So R2 wasn't a part of Rogue One, but Chopper was in there for a second. So we're just going to pretend it's Chopper. So if anyone has a Chopper mini, that's awesome. I wish I had one myself, but we're going to go with him as well. So we're going to want some heavies. With the rebels, I'm going to go with the CMO 93 trooper. That way he can shoot range 1 to 4, which is an awesome upgrade to what it used to be. And then 4 white dice, critical 2, along with everyone else shooting black dice. So we'll just have that for now. For the rebel troopers, let's go ahead and add the Z6, because if anything, if maybe the medium blaster, maybe the rebel veterans go one way, maybe the troopers are nearby, the Z6 is awesome to have fire supported with the Mark II, because the Mark II is going to be shooting 4 black at range 1 to 3, critical 2, surging, adding it to this dice pool with 6 white, 4 black, and then another 4 black. So you're getting quite a lot of stuff there with surging to hit and critical 2. Fantastic. So we're going to do that. And then I plan on putting the fleets inside the AA5 because they're going to be range 1 to 2. And they're shooting 2 white, surging to hit already. So for the heavy, I also want to do the scattergun trooper. So basically, you're adding 2 red to that and pierce, which would be perfect. Because then when they unload off the AA5, they'll probably be close enough to go ahead and shoot, hopefully, at range 1 to 2. So you'll have 2 red and then 8 white, because you'll have 4 for the rest of them. So that's 10 dice. And then if you wanted to, I would add another fleet trooper, honestly, to make sure you get that extra little bit of dice in there. For the Pathfinders, I'm going to go ahead and add their free config up there. And then for the AA5, as much as we already have a commander for this, we're probably going to infiltrate him for the most part. You don't have to, but if you do, you're going to have to nominate another commander, and you might as well go ahead and nominate Shriv, because he's also, for a free action, every single turn can give out a dodge and a suppression token. If you wanted to give it out suppression, it says may gain a suppression. You don't have to give it out, but if you do, the Pathfinders will certainly benefit from that. So maybe you can keep the Pathfinders infiltrated sort of close to the AA5 and just getting kind of ahead. Or if they infiltrated to begin with and they're in the middle and trying to pick up a box and run, you could have the AA5 try to unload the fleets at some point and then load back the rebel Pathfinders, and I'll explain why in a minute. But you can give out, suppression tokens with the AA5. So keeping the AA5 coming around the Pathfinders is what we're going to try to basically do for this, or at least around Cassian and K2, which will be super, super important. But we can start with the fleet troopers on there. And then the other thing that you want to do is, if you really wanted to add the frag grenades, you could, but already surging to hit with as many dice as you're throwing, it's probably better to just leave off a grenade on that. Now the AA5, like I said, we're going to go ahead and put Shriv on there. And there's a plethora of upgrades, personnel upgrades that we can do too, mostly, that we can add on there, but there's a plethora to choose from. For this specific list, especially with the Pathfinders, and how I want to use the truck, especially with as many points as we have left, and kind of the other things that I want to try to do, I'm going to use it as not an attack vehicle, but as cover and as a medical unit. So I'm going to go with the Backworld Medic, because it will hand out suppression. And like I said, the Pathfinders will super benefit from that suppression. So say that you lose a Pathfinder, you can go ahead and take a turn to heal it, possibly get some suppression for extra cover again, and then get moved behind it if you need to, or anything else like that. But I think the amount of suppression tokens that this AA5 can hand out will be, again, perfect for the Pathfinders and or Cassian and K2. Mostly Cassian. But we'll go ahead and put the Backworld Medic on there. And then in order to continue to use the action of having, because with the Backworld Medic, it's different than the medical unit, because the medical unit, you can only heal twice throughout the whole game, once per turn, twice throughout the entire game. So that's only 2 minis that you can bring back, or 2 wounds to heal. With the A5 speeder truck, as long as you can keep it alive, every round it can heal 1. And then if you added a medical droid to the rebel veterans, you would be able to do even more. And then R2 can heal either K2 or the AA5. Or the other thing you could do is just do an astromech on maybe the rebel troopers or someone in order to continue healing the AA5, but you're only going to get a max of 6 wounds healed if it lasts that long. And if someone dies in the early first turn, then you could possibly do it too. And then the other one would be shield. That way you can keep it alive to do that. Now you don't have to. You can go with the unorthodox tactician. So if you just want to really use the AA5 to hand out dodges, aims, and to heal people, you could just go with unorthodox tactician because you're probably going to be handing out anywhere at least 1 to 3 aims. And the Pathfinders could use it because then they can spend an extra, action moving because they all have dauntless. So if they have suppression, they can do a free action to move. And then if they have an aim already, you could do another move and then shoot with an aim. So there's lots of possibilities to do with the unorthodox tactician on there. But for the sake of points and for this one, and for the sake of, I just want to use it as cover to make sure that the rebel pathfinders can't get shot at as much, and that it's a line of sight blocker for the most part, and that they will provide heavy cover for anyone behind it. And or you could use it to cut off an exit route somewhere and make people not be able to go anywhere. So that's another thing you can do with this. So I think the Duconk droid would be perfect. And then I'm not going to arm. I'm not going to arm it because either I'm going to be moving and doing this, handing out a free, well, not free, but moving and healing, something like that. Anything that I can do for that. Now we have tons of points left. You can add another activation and do snipers. If you wanted to, you could do the medical droid on the rebel troopers. Why not? And you have 10 activations. So, okay, with the Pathfinders, endurance, maybe, because with the AA5 being able to hand out as many suppression tokens as possible. So you're going to be getting anywhere between 1 to 3 suppression tokens if you wanted per turn on one individual unit, or possibly up to 1 or 2, maybe on 2 different ones. It's just kind of up to you on how to do it. And then what they'll be able to do is, if you wanted to, if they're getting shot at, you could do more. But duck and cover is cheaper. You're basically going to give yourself another suppression. But I think endurance, for the most part, can be beneficial for Pathfinders with the amount of suppression from command cards you're going to be giving out, and from the amount of suppression the AA5 is going to be handing out, and then the amount of suppression that the enemy is going to be dealing you. So I think endurance, with Dauntless, with the AA5, with everything, the amount of suppression tokens you can have is, crazy high. So I'm going to go with endurance. Call me crazy. I'd like to play a game with it and just kind of see how it goes. Something a little bit different. And then we have a whole lot of other upgrades that we can do with this. I think the prepared supplies goes really well with the Pathfinders because they know what they're getting themselves into, if we're going to try to keep it thematic. And it's okay to kind of deck all this stuff out for the most part because we've got so much to heal and so many ways to heal. It's on, like, there's so much that we can do, and we haven't even put the astromech on anywhere. And R2D2 can heal twice 2 wounds, so it can repair 2 wounds twice. And then he's also got secret mission. And with the AA5 having shields, and then you'll be able to have armor, so it's canceling all hits. The amount of crits are getting through. There's a lot of ways to heal it and do stuff. With the amount of ion stuff people have, you might really want to do another fleet or another. So maybe what I would do is put maybe the medic on them, and the rebel trooper have the medical droid, but that's 2 points over. So ooh, no, wait. Aha, no wonder. So yeah, we'll put the medical droid on them, and then we'll put the astromech on them, giving us 8 points left. And so the other thing that we could do is since we know we're going to do so much with the Pathfinders and they're going to be getting shot at a lot, we can go with emergency transponder. Now, you can't use Dauntless on them unless they are suppressed but not panicked. So if you're suppressed but not panicked, meaning they have 2 suppression tokens. So let's try to get into that and see what we can do to also manipulate that, because if they have 2 suppression tokens, you'll be able to give yourself another suppression. So you'll have 3 to do an extra move. At the end of the round, you'll be able to take that suppression off, basically doing that move for free. And then at the end of the round, if you wanted to take off another suppression, you can, because you're going to be able to give yourself even more, but that's totally up to you. Like I said, I think endurance is going to be a lot better on them because of the amount that they're going to be getting shot and that they're going to be in the fray like crazy. And with emergency transponder giving them an aim, a dodge, or a surge, right? Or remove a suppression. I think this is going to be a super loaded Pathfinders, but super nice. And then with the AA5 being able to heal them. So say that again, one of the Pathfinders dies, you can at least heal them. They're going to have a dodge from prepared supplies and then impossible another dodge from emergency transponders. And then with the amount of suppression that they're going to have, they can roll an exponential amount of dice. Well, technically 2, I think 3. So yeah, there's a lot of dice and ways to save them. And I think so doing this to be able to get the objectives in and out would be perfect. So there's a lot of different ways to use that. So first off, let's go with the cards. Crackshot, I think, would be absolutely perfect, because if you want to go with it first, you can, give Cassian an aim, and then he wouldn't be able to move with his sniper rifle if he's got it in the sniper config. But if you have it in the sniper config, he's going to have gunslinger. He's going to get an aim, and then you can take an aim. That's a good little way to, again, get a first shot in. Or maybe you're getting him infiltrated close and you really need him to go first. That's another way of doing it. I mean, I think crackshot is just perfect, though. And then sabotage communications goes really well with the Pathfinders, surprisingly, which is really fun, because then, and it's an operative. And if you're going to be infiltrating with Cassian and K2, you're going to have an operative. So basically almost 3 operatives that you can choose from. So you have that, and then you have 2 of the special forces. So it's just a matter of timing for this card. And you're going to, I mean, with the, it just kind of depends. There's a few times that this would be good, but I think it'd be fun because it's also giving it to some important people that you're going to need to give it to anyway. So yeah, you can go with that. And then let's see, last stand. So last stand, here we go. This is where we start to give out suppression. So he's going to be able to give out a suppression to himself and to another trooper unit. And then the AA5 can hand out suppression to the other units. So there's lots of ways to go ahead and get that suppression on people. And then you could go with push. I think that would be perfect. We don't have any other supports, or we only have 1 heavy, so that would be meaningless. Push would be way, way, way better. And then volunteer mission. Here we go again. So when Cassian issues an order to, like I said earlier, that unit recovers and gains danger sense 1 and may gain a suppression. So there's another way of getting suppression on other people. And then with the AA5, if you're not going first with the Pathfinders, then do that first. Another thing that we can do is, if you really didn't want the medical droid because you just felt like it was a little too much, take off the medical droid. Let's put an HQ uplink on the AA5 speeder truck. Like I said, you have 5 points left that you could do with whatever you wanted to. Maybe you could give those 5 points to the rebel troopers who have nimble, and then maybe give them prepared supplies. Because you have 8, and there's, I mean, you can give it to the rebel veterans. You could go ahead and give them, well, super close. Let's see. Well, instead, go ahead and give the rebel troopers the extra guy, and then give yourself the medical droid. Oh, no, sorry, not the medical droid. The astromech droid. Boom, there you go. You're keeping the AA5 alive, and it can recover at that point then. So then maybe you can recover and heal, and then get that HQ uplink again to do whatever you need to, especially if you're in the right spot to block something. then just recover since you're not going to want to move or shoot the HQ uplink, so you can give yourself an order next time, and then keep going. And then that way you can move the fleets around and or pick something up when you need to. Then, so volunteer mission for sure. And then I would go with assault. Easy. So you start with the fleet troopers in the AA5. Your rebel pathfinders, both of them, along with K2 and Cassian, have infiltrated. R2D2 is going to be trying to follow behind the AA5. The fleet troopers are going to try to rush in and alleviate the pathfinders and try to cover fire as much as possible, because the pathfinders can basically lead a lot of trooper units to where they are. And then when the AA5 comes in, unload the fleet troopers on all of them, use the rebel troopers and or the rebel veterans to do whatever you want with and go for objectives. The Mark II can sit and watch and cover something, or, you know, you could fire support it with the rebel troopers if it has an order, or the rebel veterans if you give an order to the rebel veterans. But for the most part, you're never going to really give one to them. And then R2D2 is going to be able to heal the AA5 and get the secret mission. K2 is going to also be able to, for the most part, you're going to have 2 droids. Hey, that's a lot of fun. The AK2 is going to be able to go in and start meleeing people if you really wanted to. And then Cassian, great little, you know, all around character. And I think this is a pretty heavy and solid list. I'm probably going to have my friend play this next time, $7.99, and then breakthrough wouldn't be that bad because you're already going to be able to. Well, no, I wouldn't do breakthrough because everyone's going to already get and be firing at you. Maybe intercept the transmissions, but key positions wouldn't be that bad because then maybe you can try to get the rebel pathfinders on there as much as possible. Then recover the supplies would be the number 1 thing I would do. Hostage exchange, maybe, sure, why not? Bombing run, they have to be in the start of the deployment zone. Sorry, I can't think of it. So we'll go with intercept the transmissions and then key positions probably. And then for deployment, obviously you could go with like battle lines, advanced positions if you wanted to, since you're not doing any of the other stuff, and try to get everyone as close as possible. Or I would go with long march. That's going to be hard to infiltrate there. Danger close, they could be here, but it's going to be hard. You're going to be infiltrated like crazy. Probably roll out just in case if you wanted to, a major offensive and battle lines, so you could be spread out. And that's another good way to infiltrate as well. Conditions with infiltrate, maybe you don't want them shooting pretty close, so you want limited visibility because you want suppression. You could probably go with, where was it? Hostile environment. And then minefield, you probably don't want, but if you're already, you know, infiltrated in the middle, away from the blast radius of 1, then you could, but then they might, you know, put mines in the middle of everywhere to prevent you from infiltrating in. So we'll go with clear conditions and then supply drop. Because then if you know where your guys are going to be, put the supplies right there and infiltrate next to them. Continue to dig in there as much as possible and get what you can. And boom, there you go. All right, so I'm going to leave with that, guys. Sorry that was such a long video. And if you liked it, go ahead and like, subscribe, and leave a comment below what you liked about it, what you would change about it, if you would think there's too many upgrades on them. And if you liked it, yeah, hopefully you guys can use it. I'll leave this, you know, I'll leave the list in the description below. And yeah, hopefully you guys have another one. I'll go ahead and leave it there. And if you got any last things, if you got any requests, go ahead and leave them below. Peace.